So UFC Atlantic City just wrapped up, and my god, Erin Blanchfield finally got exposed on the feed. I thought that Jessica Andrade was going to do it. She didn't. I thought Tyler Santos was going to do it. She did. But then she gassed out. And finally, Manon Fiorot finally exposed her on the feet. Because I've been seeing it for a while. Like, she's got obviously great grappling. She's got good cardio. But the problem with her is just her striking. And obviously, Manon is a great striker, but the way you can kind of tell someone just doesn't belong in the striking is just when they have like almost no moments in the fight and they lose every single round. And that's what she did. She landed like a head kick at one point. She was like blitzing in and landing a couple raising shots, but nothing really significant. Manon was just piecing her up with basic southpaw tactics. Throw the jab. She was literally like walking into jabs, running into like right hooks and everything. And the beast from Nice just shut her down for 5 rounds. It was impressive. And at the start of the fight, it was actually pretty funny because she just like picked her up and just like threw her on the ground. And like, I was like a power play from her just to show her like Manon did that to show Blanchfield that you can't even mess with me on the ground. Like I'm gonna dominate you here too. It didn't like end up well for her because she got reversed and then she ended up getting back up. But it was like it was like a nice way to just show dominance in the fight, I guess, from Manon. And she did great. She did great in the whole fight. A lot of people thought that she was gonna gas out, and I wish I was able to release my prediction video for you guys, but I had some problems with that. But it was a great fight. Yeah, Manon, she's probably like she's up there as like she's definitely in the top three in that weight class of best strikers. I'm not sure who's number one because Alexa Grasso and Shevchenko, they're really back and forth. But yeah, she showed some great cardio. No, she didn't like slow down. She won the whole 5 rounds. A lot of people were saying she was slowing down in the Rose Namajunas fight, but I feel like she just knew she was winning, so she didn't really feel the need to waste energy. She's a very effective fighter in there. Like Blanchfield, I feel like she should have, like try to mix it up, go in the southpaw stance. We've seen fighters like Alexa Grasso struggled with Valentina, but then she made an adjustment and she won in southpaw too. And southpaws love to throw that like right hook, so they leave themselves open. Like we've seen Leon Edwards get rocked by that big shot by Nate Diaz. We've seen Valentina get rocked by a big shot by Alexa Grasso because they leave themselves open for that check hook. And like they throw it super wide. So if you're in the southpaw and you throw like a 1-2, you're going to catch them. It's like how Strickland dropped Adesanya too. It's basically like that. Like make an adjustment because Manon she wasn't doing anything special in this fight. She was keeping it very simple, very basic, but she had a great approach. And whenever Blanchfield like would get close, she would actually clinch up with her. So she was like winning in the clinch exchanges too, and she was landing knees and good punches off the break. But another thing that Blanchfield could have done, like she was throwing a lot of body kicks, but I feel like she kind of abandoned it too early. She was too eager to just like, land some hands on her. But, just stay on that body kick because it was landing clean. And we've seen in the 5th round that Manon was open to that head kick. Like she was like dipping her head to her left, which is the direction of the head kick from the orthodox stance. So if she was like more patient with that shot, like just keep blasting at it, you could eventually potentially get a head kick KO. But she was throwing it here and there, but it seemed like she just wanted to like land her punches. Like she's not really like a kicker, and we've seen it in her fights with like Jessica Andrade and Tyler Santos. She's like she throws hands, and she's basically a jiu-jitsu fighter, but she can get the fight to the ground and like mix up your takedowns too. There's not just like single legs and double legs. There's plenty of takedowns, trips, and stuff like that. I mean, go for single legs. Like it's right in front of you. It's an open stance. Throw some shots into takedowns. Like it's crazy, but I'm just glad that Manon won. And yeah, it's gonna be very exciting when she fights either Valentina Shevchenko or Alexa Grasso. I think at this point in time, she could potentially beat Valentina. Valentina, we've seen maybe she's on starting to get on a decline. And Alexa Grasso, she's good, but she still has some holes in her grappling game. And she does struggle quite a bit against Valentina when she's throwing those softball shots. And when she's in there with someone who's potentially bigger than Valentina, maybe like even faster than Valentina, it's gonna be like troubling. And now she can go 5 rounds, so it's gonna be interesting. But there's a co-main event of UFC Atlantic City, Vicente Luque versus Joaquin Buckley, and I'm glad that Buckley won too. I like Luque. I wouldn't have mind seeing him win, but not neither guy got hurt too bad, and that's good to see. But yeah, Buckley, he was like he just looked like he had a superior striking in this fight. His striking, his footwork was on point. His distance control too. Like he was landing a lot of kicks and making Luque miss on a lot of kicks too, and he was able to close the distance really well to get in close and land his hooks and then get out the way without getting clipped by Luque. And also, it seemed like the physicality difference played a factor because he was kind of pushing Luque around at times. Like he was blitzing into him, and then like Luque couldn't like counter because Buckley would like push him back into the cage. And even when Luque tried to mix it up and go for takedowns, like Buckley shut that down too. Although he did grab the fence at one point, but he still defended it. He's actually pretty good at 170. And now that he's in the rankings, I think that Joaquin Buckley should look to get like a fight with like a Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, because Wonderboy at this point he doesn't really want to fight grapplers, and Buckley, he seems like a striker, but he's got some pretty good grappling. He just showed this in his fight by stopping Luque with some good ground and pound and like defending the takedowns. So he might actually mix it up with Wonderboy, but it's gonna be interesting to see Wonderboy go up against Buckley. So I think maybe those two for like a main event, maybe in May, because that's when Buckley said he would be down to return. So why not Wonderboy versus Joaquin Buckley? And the last fight I'll cover today is the Chris Weidman fight. And Chris Weidman, he like I wasn't sure if he should still fight considering the leg injury, considering his age, but he actually didn't really look that bad against Brad Tavares. He did pretty well. He it seemed like Brad Tavares wasn't like trying to fight like he usually does, because he's usually like kind of willing to stand in the pocket and trade shots with his opponents. But with Chris Weidman, it seemed like he was kind of like employing a more of like a stick and move strategy, which is very interesting. Like he was landing a lot of good kicks, but he didn't really like box with Weidman as much as I thought he would. But Bruno Silva in this fight, he didn't look too great either. Like I think that maybe the Pereira fight took something out of him, because he got smacked by Alex Pereira quite a bit. Like he probably ate like 10 clean left hooks without like getting dropped, or maybe he did get dropped at one point. But yeah, he ate a lot of shots from Pereira. And in this fight, it just seemed like Weidman was just so much better than him on the feet. And I think that's because Chris Weidman is training with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, because his distance control was really on point. He was evading a lot of shots. He knew when to get in and land his shots. He also had some great like kicking dexterity, which again, I attributed that to working with Wonderboy, because he was getting those kicks up there like with ease and without like telegraph. He even rocked Bruno Silva at one point with a right head kick. It might have been a left, I'm not sure, but he did great, and he was rocking Bruno Silva with his hands, and his wrestling is still there. He looked good. Like, the finish, he did poke him in the eye, but they basically just like it's basically a decision win. But it's good to see Chris Weidman so win. But overall, this was a really good card.